Hi designers, this is Anna Livermore from V.Mora, and I'm here again with Laura. Laura, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, Laura Dotolo.
Dotolo! I was like, I know. Yeah, Laura Dotolo. From
clutchmade.com, the Clutchmade Factory. We specialize in developing and making accessories here in the USA.
Yep. And V.Mora helps launch fashion designers. We help with pattern samples, source your goods, budgeting, costing. We also help with branding, photo shoots, and social media. So if you're interested in working with us, you can reach out to us at V.Mora, V-M-O-R-A, inquiry at vmora.com. And so today we're talking about creative ways of making money. So since COVID has hit, it's had some major implications on the fashion industry. Things are shifting. And from what I'm seeing, the designers that were able to pivot and offer new things and think outside the box are the ones that are surviving. So today we're just talking a little bit about that. You have anything to add on that, Laura? Or?
Well, it is. It's a completely different climate right now. And what I'm sensing is I just read about retail every day. And every day there's another retailer that is just not paying rent anymore, is shutting down. New York City's having a really hard time of it, too, with so many retail spots and no one's paying rent. So it's almost better right now if you're a smaller brand.
Right.
You have less overhead. You're in a key position right now.
Yeah.
There's you have less competition and there's a little bit more room for you to get out there and do get innovative about the way you make money and the way you promote your brand.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends today and she was saying that in her experience, what's kind of making or breaking designer or entrepreneurs right now is how their landlords, how workable their landlords are being with them.
That is such a key because some of them are just suffocating people with it. And others, that's everything.
Even like with your apartments.
Yeah. So true. It's all about the living situation and the working situation now in the city. That's what it's coming down to. So almost like the less square footage you have and the more internet you have and the more internet presence with social media and your website and how you can work that, the better off you are.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, our first tip or first thing we wanted to talk about was promotion, collaborations, and sponsorship opportunities. So we've had a lot of designers working together about, I'll promote your brand. If you promote my brand, I'm launching. Will you put on your, it can just be friends. It doesn't even have to be like this big professional contracted deal. Any way that you can work and collaborate with other designers, I think is a plus. And having sponsorship, if there's another influencer that you can send a accessory to or a dress to, but just staying creative on what can you do and how can you hustle when it comes to the digital space.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that's a little bit of what we're doing right here, Anna. Too.
Yeah, that is.
We're doing a little cross, like let's put our energies together. And
we walk the talk, right?
Yes, exactly. We do. We set a good example for everyone. This is a great time, and I know it's Clutchmade. We're doing a lot of this now too. We're doing a lot of reaching out to our makers and highlighting them and kind of getting them out there. So maybe they'll give us a little shout out too. And a lot of people who are making in the USA, people who represent making in the USA, who want to talk about their experience. And we're kind of doing a lot of little cross branding. It's a great time to do it, kind of connect and create a community out there. So it builds strength. It really does. So you can build the community of, making, number one, possibly making in the USA is something else. And then, sourcing and supporting each other.
Yeah, I think now more than ever, it's really just trying to help everyone survive and like banding together as a team and helping where you can and then other people helping you when they can. And I've seen that. It's been really great. I've seen that with a lot of my designers. Promotions, collaborations, sponsorship opportunities. I want everyone listening to think of one opportunity that they can do. Walk away, sit down. What is one thing you can do to collaborate or to promote or do a sponsorship opportunity or, something out there with somebody on digital marketing. That would be my homework. Everyone should be able to come up with one idea.
No, definitely. That's a good one.
So the next thing we wanted to kind of highlight was doing what you can with the inventory you are sitting on. I know every single one of my designers, every single one of them has extra fabric, extra buttons, extra labels, extra stuff, so looking back, taking a full inventory of what you have and how can you reuse it and how can you reinvent a pattern you've already used. So right now, it's been kind of forcing people to be more sustainable because it's creating less waste, but going through and seeing what can you reuse, what can you reinvent, what can you, that fabric, instead of buying new fabric, using a fabric from 3 seasons ago, or, whatever that looks like, just really being creative with your fabric scraps, your dead stock, your patterns that you've already made. And this, again, this circles back to being more sustainable.
Yes.
Which everyone needs to do anyways.
Yes, definitely. And everyone's looking for that. We actually have a lot of questions that come in from people wondering if they can actually buy some of our dead raw materials that are hanging out so they can reuse them, because they kind of want to recycle. So they look at that as recycling. Yeah. So we welcome them to that. We also encourage a lot of our clients too, if they have any styles of bags that aren't selling, maybe if it's clutches, just to add on like a crossbody chain that could come off and on. Just be a little creative about what you do to kind of modernize the bag. You could do the same thing with patterns, like you mentioned. Like take a pattern of a bag, kind of update it with like a different piece of hardware, bring it into a different, day or trend. Yeah. And that's a good way to make it look fresh on the marketplace.
Interesting. So would that be what they call upcycling versus recycling? What's the difference? Do you know?
No,
I don't know if they're interchangeable words or.
Well, upcycling, I'm not quite sure. I know one of them is if something's already made, taking it apart. Okay. So suppose you have we've had military uniforms that we use from the Army and turning those into dog accessories.
Oh, very
dog
cool.
collars and leashes. It's a little difficult because you have to disassemble the uniforms.
And you'll do that?
There's so much labor that's involved in that. So it's not always the least expensive road to travel.
Yeah.
So you really have to have your heart into the sustainability. Sustainability is not always inexpensive.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't been following our podcast, Laura takes on the projects that people don't necessarily welcome in. And this deconstruction of units and then reconstruction is something that's really hard to find factories to do. And this comes with people that are taking old Levi's apart and then putting them back together, or taking old Nike hoodies and putting them back together. So I think that would be the upcycling. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Don't quote me on what the differences are, but upcycling and recycling. But a lot of factories don't want to do that because it's difficult. It's difficult to. It takes just about the same amount of time to take a garment apart as it is to put a garment back together. Is that right?
Pretty much. Yeah. I think it's actually even a little harder.
I know. I'd rather put something together from scratch than take something apart.
Yeah. Well, it's just so difficult, too, to lay it out because you don't have full yardage when you're doing it. So you have to work with pieces. And then sometimes it's just every piece is a different size sometimes. So it's a tricky maneuver. Yeah.
So it's doubling the work. But it is making it more sustainable and keeping these garments out of landfills. And you're reinventing something new. So, I've had a lot of designers. They do that mostly on their own. That's what they're doing, things at home, and they're taking something apart and putting it together, and then they're looking to scale. And it's tough to scale when you're doing that.
That's the hardest thing. But, I think more and more, as you're seeing out there on the marketplace with fashion, because it's ever changing, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, I think people are looking for unique items anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of great when something's just a little different. I mean, it's okay. And I think we have to just roll with it. Who needs, 100 of the same thing sometimes anyway? It's nice when you feel like you got an individual something out there. And it seems like individuality is really taking its course and sort of shining through right now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. So we have another thing we wanted to highlight about being able to creatively make money is to offer online virtual styling. And specifically, I have a client that does bridal wear, and the brides aren't able to go in and try on the garments and have this beautiful day, like the show, say yes to the dress. So what they're doing is they're sending multiple dresses to their customers. But I have a lot of clients that are doing this where they're trying to do this virtual styling with their best clients, the clients that used to come into their space or their studios or, work with them one-on-one, but being able to do these virtual styling events or offering this as a package. So I think that would work with accessories too, around you can send them 10 pieces of an accessory and help them outfit it, tell them how to wear it, just staying creative.
Yes.
Staying creative.
Yeah, we do a little bit of this on our IGTV where we show people how to wear certain bags, what to wear with, give ideas.
Great.
So you can see how you can just work it. And it adds a little fashion into the mix as well. So you get some fashion tips with it. But we do encourage our clients to get on and do a video, show how to wear the bag, show what the bag's about, show how you can optimize it and get more versatility out of it. It's always a good way to connect with your clients and to add a little something extra, because there is still competition out there on the marketplace, and you just really want to set that apart from everyone else. You want to find your niche and what is it you're giving, and customer service nowadays is really truly everything.
Right. And that's what I was going to add too, is like when you build that relationship with a customer, they're your customer for life. So being able to create that kind of personalized experience, I think having those special touches, sending the thank you notes with their garments, or like having this nice packaging, things like that, to have this special connection with your customer really sets people apart. People care about that now more than ever because they want to know who they're investing in. I know if I know the designer and it's an independent designer, I will spend that money and think nothing of it.
Oh, that is very true.
Yeah.
Especially when you've made a connection with them and you kind of know a little bit about them. I think that's important. Everyone has your story. And it's good to get your story out there too, and make sure that's relevant. If they can see you in any kind of social media, it just makes everyone so happy. The customer just loves that.
Yeah, because it makes it feel like I'm helping support someone that I really care about and that I like and that I want to succeed. And then it's like less like, oh, well, I really just wanted a new jacket to wear, which might also be true. But if I know the designer and I know I'm supporting her or him, that's like not so much of a selfish purchase for me. So if you can make these customers not, they can feel that too, so that it's not like just solely a selfish purchase for them to have a new bag or a new jacket, but they're buying into you as a designer, and supporting you. And if you show your gratitude in some way, I think that that's really useful.
No, I think that's great. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. And offering custom. What is your opinion of custom? Because I kind of hate it. But...
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. So we're on the same page. A lot of designers do. I try to say, okay, because the custom pieces, right? What is it? The 80-20 rule, whereas 80% of your work gives you 20% of your income. And when people are doing custom, I feel like that's the case because they're putting so much time into one of these garments. So I don't feel like the return is so great, but I have so many designers that love doing it. They love having that FaceTime with the customer. So it makes it worth it to them because, again, they're creating this lifelong customer that will eventually buy their ready-wear for the next purchase, and this will be a long-term customer. But I don't feel like offering custom should be a large part of your income.
I think it's a really tricky thing to do unless you have some kind of system set up for it, because I know they do it with every gadget almost now out there.
Right.
But when it comes to like making bags, we get requests for this all the time for accessories. If I do this, can I do one and just order one? Well, you know what it does? It just shoots your costs right. It gets super, super expensive. It doesn't really work very well for the labor and intensity that's involved with it. Like you're saying, and I just don't think what you're getting back from it is just going to be enough. I think there's ways to make things that can feel a little bit more custom. Sometimes it's just putting an initial on something, but thinking about how you can monogram something in a smart way after something's produced so that you can do a small inventory, have that, and then customize it afterwards. A great way to do customization for us is those guitar straps that are going on out there, the removable crossbody straps.
Yeah.
What a great way to make something customizable.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's great. That's a great to make something feel like it's custom,
yes,
when really on the other side of things, you've got it set up where it's a system that it's not really you starting from scratch every single time you have a custom. But like I said, I do have a lot of designers that love doing it, and it is part of their business. And if you get joy out of it, and it's something you like doing, great. Offer the custom, pull in those new clients. But if it's getting to the point, a lot of times my designers get tired of it, and it's more work than it's worth profitability wise. So you want to be careful with the custom, but it is another creative way that you can make money. What I like to do too with some of our designers is I have the designer that wants to spend 3 weeks on one garment because they're taking apart zippers and they're sewing them together, and they're taking out different parts of fabrics, and they're creating this one-of-a-kind garment. If you love doing that, if it keeps you creative, but if you go in knowing this isn't a reproducible garment, you're going to sell one of it. You're probably not going to get your time off of it, but you love doing it, and it's going to attract customers in. You can do a photo shoot. You can have this kind of avant-garde, one-of-a-kind section on your website. That again, if that's all you're doing, you won't survive. You need to have that ready-wear. You need to have the larger productions because you won't be making enough money to be able to pull through. So yeah, just again, keeping creative, staying creative, thinking outside the box when it comes to making money. And our last highlight is just how you can monetize Pinterest, YouTube, other social media sites. This is similar to the promotions and the collabs, but really I think that that's the way that the industry is going. Everything's going digital. I have a friend that works in just digital space, and she's saying that we've kind of catapulted ourselves to what 2030 was going to look like. Because we were gradually, everything's getting digital and going that way. And now with COVID, it just like shot us forward 10 years.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I was waiting for what would be that turning point. And
yeah,
I knew there would be something in history that would just send us off. And it really did. Mm-hmm. It's sort of exciting if you look at it that way. I think it's kind of a dramatic change. It's a real, like everything, like so many things falling through. It's like a sifter. And then you have to see if you can survive and stay above, falling through the grain, how big your grains are, right?
Yeah.
And how you can survive in this world now. So it's interesting. I think the more you can know about social media, internet platforms, virtual platforms, the better off you are at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that with the environment changing the way it is, there is a lot of opportunities for the independent designer, for the smaller brands, because a lot of the larger brands are sitting on a big inventory that they didn't sell, unfortunately. And they're sitting on large retail spaces that weren't open and having to pay the rents and having the large overheads. So I think that it is a time for the smaller brands. It really is. And that they have a lot that they can do here to kind of stay alive and stay prevalent. I do think too, and this is probably another podcast at some point, but the seasons, like there's less demands on the designers because you're not competing so much with that fast fashion anymore.
Right. Yeah. Which I think is great. Honestly. Yeah. Because with sustainability and fast fashion, those were two opposing, kind of platforms and companies. Like looking at fast fashion has nothing to do with sustainability. Right. So I think that's pushed it almost out of the way. So it brings you in. And I think you have a huge opportunity here for anybody who's a brand who's looking into making for the holiday season. The holiday season is going to be low on inventory for things to buy. So it's a really, really great opportunity to start making now and getting it out there and learning what platforms you want to promote on, how you're going to monetize whatever you're doing for your branding, etc. And then really let people know that you have something available to sell and talk about the purpose behind it and the story behind it. Yeah,
because I didn't even think about that, but you have to be so far in advance that when these larger companies were supposed to be, developing their holiday, they didn't. And now it's like they don't have, because of the capacity that they operate, they no longer have the time. So the inventory is going to be really low come holidays. So the smaller brands can really get ahead of that. And that's great.
Yeah,
great
I
news
think
for them.
A lot of inventory is going to be low. Are you finding that raw materials are on the low side right now too?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. So I think you need to prepare for that too. And if you need any materials, that's why it's great to recycle or find some to get back into your space or your warehouse and see what you have left over that you can reuse, because you might just have to do that because there aren't going to be a lot of materials available.
Yeah, absolutely.
So check into that sooner than later is what I would advise.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks again for joining us at the In the District podcast. And until next week, thank you, Laura. You want to let them know again how they can get a hold of you?
Yes, definitely. We're at clutchmade.com, clutchmadefactory.com. You can send in an inquiry there. You can set up a call. We can have a chit chat and talk about what you would like to do and how you're going to do it.
Great. And I'm Anna Livermore from V.Mora. That's V as in Victor, MORA.com. And thanks for listening. I hope you got something out of today's call and you're able to creatively make more money. Thanks for joining.